Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Today, we are discussing a plus-sized Breitling. This is the Breitling Super Chronomat B01 2021 launch that is somewhere between the Georges Kern sensibility of Breitling watchmaking and the old regime of the Schneider family. It's big and it's bold, but it's also thoughtfully detailed and surprisingly wearable. In stainless steel and blue ceramic, you can see the watch lives up to its name, B01 44 millimeters in diameter, mostly in steel. 14.7 millimeters thick, it's 53.4 millimeters from lug to lug, with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw this large watch on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. We'll also adjust our magnification here so you can get a better sense of it in proportion. I could absolutely wear this watch, but I do think your wrist needs to be my size or larger to wear this well. Any smaller and you're going to start to risk lug overlap, which always looks ungainly. That's always the go, no-go point for me on watch fit. It's not as thick as I expected, though it's still going to struggle with tight sleeves. It should fit underneath just about any jacket cuff. Taking a look at the strap, you can see it's unusual in its molding, but it's very attractive with several different textures and planes of focus. It is vulcanized rubber, and it's evacuated on the bottom to make the material more pliant and flexible, but also to allow the wrist to breathe. You can see this is a brand new Breitling factory strap, and it is paired with a Breitling twin trigger single fold deployant clasp. Take a quick look. There's a lot of thoughtful detail going on here as we have both beveling and satination. The bevel's polished, the top's satinated. A good-looking clasp with twin trigger release. It's not friction fit, so it's sturdy and dependable for a sports watch application. The mid-case has been longitudinally satinated. We have satin on the tops of the lugs, as well as this little intermediate length that helps to close the gap between the end of the strap and the side of the case. We also have a polished bevel that arcs around the lugs and then runs from end to end across the mid-case. We have ceramic pushers and a ceramic shoulder for the crown. These are screw-down pushers. The watch is 200 meters water resistant. We have a chronograph movement with both a vertical clutch and a column wheel. It's crisp, both to the touch and to the ear, thanks to the column wheel system for function selection. And because of the vertical clutch, it engages without any stagger or jump. Also, because of the vertical clutch, there's no additional wear and tear to the movement if you just want to leave the chrono running full time. The bezel is unidirectional rotating dive style with a wonderfully refined Rolex rivaling 120 click action. It also has some old school Breitling stuff, such as the captive bezel design. This has been a standard on Breitling watches since at least the 80s. In the Schneider era, it was a sign that the watches were tougher than tough, with these screws actually fixing the bezel to the case. They all have to be removed to remove the bezel from the case. Unlike a Rolex Tag or an Omega, it can't accidentally be snapped off by impact. We have another old school Breitling design element in the rider tabs. They help you to get your bearings on the position of the bezel, but they also give you a better grip if your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. We've got a luminescent pearl. So this is a dive chronograph, unidirectional bezel, luminescent pearl. We have a running seconds hand, so this also qualifies as a dive watch, even though in the modern era and historically the Chronomat has been associated with aviation. You could see vintage style, fully loomed T-profile indices, as well as all four corners of the bezel and all 6 of the hands on the dial luminescent. It's definitely above average and gives you more than you bargained for. I love that we've got a chrono with all hands loomed and more than one reference point on the bezel. The bezel insert, as well as the caps of the rider tabs, ceramic for scratch resistance. The dial is a blue metallic sunburst, and then we have rhodium-plated, faceted, and polished steel indices, applique, not printed, and applique Breitling B, now bereft of the wings, as Breitling is now, by its own assessment, a land, sea, and air sports company. That's how they want to portray themselves. We also have tone-on-tone registers, so silver on blue. Georges Kern wants you to think of an in-house caliber when you see a Breitling chronograph with a tone-on-tone dial. There's a tachymeter scale outboard, which can be used with the chronograph to gauge speed. That's what a tachymeter does. And each of the sub-registers is countersunk with a concentric pattern at center. Launched in 2009 also on the Chronomat family, the Breitling B01 movement was not originally designed with display casebacks in mind, but it actually takes to them well with a fairly large diameter to fill a big case and handsomely decorated elements, albeit mechanically decorated. It is still a handsome thing to look at. You can see the column wheel in action right there. It's an automatic winder with a 70-hour power reserve, a 4 Hz beat rate, a COSC chronometer certification, and 5-position adjustment. You can see it uses Edicron for fine rate and beat error adjustment, which means it can be adjusted quite precisely, beaten away at 4 Hz, pivoting on 47 joules. And of course, the column wheel, the vertical clutch, the chronometer certification. We also have a combination of a stop seconds or hacking function if you wish to stop the movement entirely. And then there's also a quick set so you can rapidly cycle the date. And again, 200 meters water resistant. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.